Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Temple of Possibilities. I am Minister William, or Reverend Will if you wish, leading today's sermon of June 23rd, 2024. And as always, we'll start with a moment of silence for prayer, meditation, or what have you. All right, thank you. Today's sermon is called A Minister's Perspective on Nature-Based Faith, and it was found on the Universal Life Church website under official ULC sermons, and it was written by Reverend Tori Huffins. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Nature-based faith is a term used to describe a group of different faiths that all share a major component, the environment. Just like the Abrahamic faith groups that include numerous subgroups, all nature-based religions and spiritual practices unite in the aspect of nature that intertwine themselves with everyday living. There are a handful of subcultures that comprise nature-based faiths. This includes traditional paganism, Druidism, Santeria, Voodoo, and Taoism, but is not limited to just these primary groups, which are relatively well known. Many less known and equally valuable subgroups include, and I'm going to butcher all of these, Candomblé, sorry, ancient Poly, Polynesian traditions, Shinto, and Aboriginal traditions. The list can almost seem never-ending. The important factor is what they share in common and not how they contrast geographically. In the study of anthropology, many of these groups are classified as non-Western religions or cultural spiritual practices, on the basis of having more in common with Eastern philosophy and spirituality. This distinction is in part because of the core values of most Eastern philosophies and cultures, which tend to share a high affinity for the natural world as the pagan or other kind of nature spiritualist. These beliefs typically include a regard for nature, duality, ancestry, animism, rebirth, the presence of an afterlife, and many more acts and concepts that seek to use faith to engage with life. Nature-based faiths do not always look alike. Even more so, these exercises of one's own spiritual practice may surely differ from person to person, but the quality and output of the individual that worship nature remains consistent in carrying out the relationship between culture, individualism, and spirituality. We may solely encounter varying models of spirituality on the individual level, but can find the fixed example of such faiths and religions. Concepts by observing the collective examples of the communities and cultures involved. Those who value nature for all it is, those who value nature for all it is seek to not harness its power and bounty, but to sustain its worth and beauty. They recognize their own singular role among the many other life forms that reside within the Earth's forests, oceans, rivers, and mountains. In addition to environmentally based values are the traditions of the culture supporting the individual, such as traditions stem from the role of ancestry and respect paid to those who came before, which also gave their descendants the understanding of nature that carries over from history to modern practices. These values of the nature spiritualist are those that align life with the direction and rhythm of nature, a coming and going of life and time. The value in viewing nature as something scared comes easily to many of us, or sacred, comes easily to many of us as we see qualities of life embodied in the environment. Nature teaches us to live unapologetically in harmony with change. Our traditions are those acts and rites that are found sacred, perhaps not to the world entirely, but to certainly to our own culture, country, or family. Along the way to honoring our ancestors, our, our traditions fill the spaces between and seemingly anchor us to our present moment of life. With all of those memories, celebrations, and historic events of the past that our ancestors experienced, we may now see just how ancestry, traditions, culture, and natural faith all play into the larger spectrum of the life we live by uniting those most intimate parts of our identity and giving them the expression based on the collective sentiments of our personally unique journey among the natural world. That's one thing that a lot of the pagan faiths uh, have in common is that everything is nature based. Uh, but yeah, um, no, I'm not wearing my normal uniform. It's not hot. It's just I didn't have much time, so I put this on for a quick sermon. What I am in the thought process of doing is making a second uniform for days that is either too hot, which shouldn't be because I now have an AC, um, or if I am in a time crunch, or or well, if it is hot and I'm preaching somewhere without an AC, or ministering somewhere without an AC, I can put on my secondary uniform. But mostly the uniform will be the one I normally wear with the the cloak and with the blue light blue shirt underneath it with the collar. But yeah, remember everyone, when we all come together, the possibilities are endless. And I will see you next week.